Hi everyone, I am here with a true story. This one is called The Last Christmas Gift. Be sure, if you guys like these stories, be sure if you listen to any of them, listen to the one I just put up before this. Watch it. It's called Miracle at the Mall. And it's a true story. Okay, so the quote before this story is from the Book of Common Prayer. Come ye blessed children of my Father, receive the kingdom prepared for you from the beginning of the world. All right. The Last Christmas Gift. Snow had been predicted, but 12-year-old Betty Walford, now Roberts, and her 10-year-old sister Leonie didn't give it a thought on that late afternoon in 1924 when they sneaked out with the sled they had just received for Christmas. Dad thought we were in the house helping Mama, and she thought we were in the barn doing chores with Dad, Betty said. Instead, the girls went to a hill near their farm in Hubbardston, Michigan. Exhilarated and breathless, neither noticed snowflakes starting to fall until the moon disappeared and gale-force winds began to blow across the darkening plains. Abruptly, they found themselves in the midst of a blinding blizzard. Leonie began to cry, tears freezing on her cheeks. She tried to talk, but the wind tossed her words away. Don't cry, Leonie. Betty clung to her sister, attempting to comfort her, but she was frightened too. She had lost all sense of direction and had no idea where the house was. Were they going to freeze here? Remember, they were 12 and 10. Hey, a male voice pierced the silence. You two need help. Hop on the sled and hang on tight. I'll get you home. Who was it? Whirling snow made it impossible to see. But you don't know where our home is, Betty called. Hadn't their father warned them about going with strangers? Sure I do, he shouted back. Why, it was Joe Martin. Betty recognized the voice of the 17-year-old who lived a mile down their road, one of the kindest people they knew. How lucky to have met him on this out-of-the-way hill. Get on the sled, Joe told them again, and both girls obeyed. They could just make out his tall silhouette as he bent to pick up the rope. Then they were off, clinging to each other as Joe pulled them across the fields. Without his guidance, they surely would have missed the light from their kitchen window. Even familiar markers were blurred and confusing in the whirling snow. But Joe stopped right at the back door. You're home, he called over the gusts, hardly out of breath. Jump off and get inside. Come in and get warm, Joe, Betty called as she waded through the drifts. But no one answered. Joe was already gone. A few days later, the girls went with their father to the Martin house. Mrs. Martin welcomed them, led them down the hall, then opened a door. Everyone looked inside. Joe lay in bed, pale and tired. Betty wondered if he had caught a cold during the storm. Joe, I came to thank you for taking such good care of my daughters, Betty's father told him. Joe and his mother looked confused. The night before last, Joe, Betty prompted, when you found us and brought us home. Nobody in his right mind would have gone out in that storm, Mrs. Martin protested, especially Joe. He's been very ill with the flu. Joe nodded weakly. I've been at this bedside almost every moment. He hasn't been out of this room, much less outside, for the past week. Betty and Leonie never discovered how Joe Martin managed to be in 2 places at once, but it was a gift they gladly accepted. Christmas was over, but God had saved the best present for last. Saving those little girls' lives and bringing them home. You know, they couldn't hardly see him. All they could do was recognize his voice and make out his silhouette a little bit. I think God sent an angel, but made him sound like Joe and make them think it was him, because, you know, they didn't want to, their dad had told them about strangers and stuff, so they wouldn't be afraid. That's what I think happened. But they were very lucky, because they would have froze to death, or a lot of possibilities. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story of the last Christmas miracle, and I will probably try to finish out the book with these stories tonight. Good night, guys.